Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here. In this video we're going to be talking about aligning to your expansion energies. Now, one of the biggest shifts that humanity has practically ever experienced on this planet is taking place. This shift has allowed us to move into much more of an open-mindedness, being able to expand our states of awareness, being able to get a much more stronger state of intelligence flowing through us. But through that state of open-mindedness, through that state of expansion, it comes at a price, and we're going to look at that today. So just writing things down prior to running the recording here. Aligning to your expansion states is to notice the signs of resistance. Now, basically what that means is that in forms of resistance, if we are still playing an old paradigm game about working 9 to 5, still having a lot of belief systems about what life is supposed to be, those are the walls of resistance to an open-minded person, to a person who is going into these expanded journeys. If we keep confining ourselves into these little cubes, because we still have belief systems, mentalities, values, ethics that still represent an old paradigm, then we're basically going to experience heavy states of clashing. And that is the resistance that is being referred to here. Romanticism to old habits, unserving, increase pain body. So this is where I see all kinds of people, from people on my Facebook page, to people who I'm doing sessions with, to people when I go to events and start looking and seeing what they're going through, is they struggle so much to put all of this expansive thinking and condensing it into a box, and feeling that, well, yeah, I'm moving into these higher states of consciousness, but I still need to do this old kind of work that I absolutely hate. Yeah, I'm moving into this great state of open awareness, but I'm still hanging around these people who I can't stand. God almighty, I hate their friggin' guts. That's the contradiction, right? And that is what is feeding a pain body. The whole idea is that the entire self, your entire self, has not really grasped the concept yet that you're actually moving into an expanded state of being. So, moving on. An open mind's price leads to self-responsibility. So this is where we are governing ourselves. We are realizing that we're moving into expanded states. We're realizing we're developing a very open mind. We're seeing the world a lot differently. Those two particular realities, of an expanded reality and a confined reality, can't coexist. They will clash. They will fight. They will battle each other. So because they are two completely different vibrations. You cannot squeeze your expansion into a reality that represents cubicle confinement. So this is where we need to take responsibility when we're moving ourselves into these higher states of consciousness, when we're starting to expand ourselves. If we feel that we're trying to condense all of this in, then again, that is going to react very heavily to the pain body. It's kind of like looking at a person and saying, I love you, but God damn it, you piss me off. God damn it, I hate your guts, but I love you, right? It's, again, two contradictory aspects. You can't have that. You'll go insane, right? So you basically have to learn to let go of old paradigm thinking, of old paradigm mentality. Yes, that includes jobs. Yes, that includes old friends that may quote-unquote drive you crazy, that are not supporting you anymore. You need to cut them loose. You need to let them go. You need to allow them to go on their own journey, while you're allowing yourself to go your own journey. You have to start taking responsibility for yourself. These are not compatible dimensions of vibration. They're two completely different ones. Trying to make an old paradigm work is a painkiller, but not a pain resolver. So it's no more different than if we were to grab a very big Tylenol and just swallow that down and say, oh, okay, I'm expanding, but I got to try and fit myself back in this cube, right? It's like looking at a 12-foot tall person trying to fit inside this itty-bitty tiny little box, right? They might be able to do it, maybe, but they're extremely uncomfortable. You are bringing yourself down to the level that you are attempting to expand from. Why would you do that, right? If you're really expanding yourself, if you're moving yourself into new consciousness, into new forms of awareness about how you're seeing the universe, how you're understanding reality, being able to understand all of these new spectrums of awareness, why try to fit yourself in an old paradigm box, right? This is where we need to start looking into the idea that we are resolving these old aspects of pain by letting them go, by being able to bring forgiveness to those aspects, bringing them love, and being able to let them go on their own way, transition our own energies, and move us into a new paradigm of thinking, into a new wonderment, so to speak. Feel the source point that culminates your natural way, and see no boundaries obstructing who you are to be, rather than who you feel you're supposed to be, right? So again, we get caught up in the purpose game. What's my purpose? What's the purpose of me being here? What's my soul's purpose? Your soul doesn't have a purpose. You don't really have a purpose. This reality doesn't really have a purpose, right? The purposes that you create are based upon your own state of meaning through one particular thing. And that represents belief. That's purpose. That's how we assign meaning into our reality, based upon what we believe, based upon what we validate, what we decide to give meaning to. Your soul couldn't care less about this. Could not care less about belief. It is about going into the alignment of nature, being a natural alignment of self, which means nature can take you into many different directions. If it's your purpose to be a healer, well then, all right, you can have some fun times with purpose in that way. But now you're only limiting yourself in a box and saying that I'm only this and I'm nothing else. And that is a limitation. That again is you attempting to take all of your expansiveness and cram it into a box. And that's what's going to cause these meltdowns, these breakdowns, these forms of clashes between two realities. You cannot have this and the other dimension, right? You're not being in third and in fourth density, right? You are moving from third and you're moving into fourth density, right? So the whole key here is being able to look into the beliefs that you have assigned, because those beliefs are the ankle weights that are keeping you confined into a reality. You're thinking really big. You're perceiving really, really big as it relates to this expansiveness, as it relates to spiritual understandings. It seems profound. It feels prolific looking into that energy about how we are all interconnected, about how we are all one. Are you just going to use that as lip service, or are you actually going to start shedding off all of those ankle weights and really experience what it is to be one, to be interconnected, to feel your connection with nature, right? Nature itself realizes it has no purpose. Nature is simply being itself, which means that if we're looking at a beautiful, lush forest, we can either give a purpose to be a bush, or we can allow the nature of what it is to be the entire forest. It's like looking inside a maze. We can create a purpose of what it is to be a certain type of wall, or we can zoom out and we can have a bird's eye view, and we can understand the nature of being the maze itself. So nature itself really is more so in a state of meaninglessness. Not to say that everything is meant to be cast aside and that life has no purpose and is dull, blah, 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 blah. No. It's the idea that a lot of what I've talked about in the past is all about being able to stream, to flow with the divine, to flow with life, to just play with these things and just let them come through you without creating some type of attachment, without feeling that, oh, this is my purpose. I'm here to be this little box, and that's all there is to me. Oh, maybe I'll play with this little box as well too. We're playing with boxes. And again, that can be fun because there are certain things involved in those boxes that can be enjoyable for a certain amount of time. Then we'll get bored of that box. Then we'll want to go into another box and say, oh, my purpose has changed, my purpose has changed, my purpose has changed. How long are you going to play the purpose game? Because this is just going to be belief after belief after belief after belief after belief. When you come into nature, you're all of those boxes plus more. You're everything. You really do not have a label to put upon yourself. You are not aligning yourself to some particular type of meaning that says, this is who I am. But what's most important is to align your states of evolution into a point where you know that you're moving into a complement of how you understand your expansive nature, your spiritual nature. That is not something that is meant to be fit into a box. You are not attempting to bring your spirituality, your evolution, your expansion into a cluttered little box and thinking that, maybe I can just try and normalize my spirituality. Maybe I'll normalize my expanded states. No, then you're basically going to be playing with the pain body a lot more. Your own body, your own mind, your own heart, your own spirit is attempting to take you on a journey. But if you feel confined to the wall with all of these braces and saying, I got my 9-to-5 job of a job I hate, I got all these people whining at me and expecting me to do things for them, and I'm having a hard time with money because money sucks, and blah, blah, blah. We're just constantly creating more of these cuffs on our arms, on our feet, on our ankles, and we can't move. We're restricting ourselves. So it's not about thinking that you can shove all this expansiveness into a modernized aspect of yourself. You will not succeed. They're not compatible. You basically choose one or the other. You move into that state. You move into that particular alignment. The question will be, well, Brad, how do I do that? Well, this is, again, what we've been talking about through many videos past. Love yourself. Create the state of complement with who you are. Raise those love vibrational energies and start living through them rather than living through your lack. Again, if you feel that, all these things are happening and there's solar flares that are happening and there's all these big storms that are taking place and everything's just shifting and all these things are bringing me all this state of chaos. They're not bringing you chaos. They're showing you the chaos that's inside yourself. And they're basically showing you that through all this energy that's culminating together, there being this very large mirror where you can see very, very deeply into yourself. They're attempting to take all of this debris out of you and show it to you as a mirror reflection. Something outside of you is never responsible for the aspect of meaning, because there is no meaning outside of anything that you define. You are the definer. You are the meaning center here. You're the purpose dweller, right? So you want to look at all of these things, and they come into states of extreme because it is part of the cycle that we are moving into. We're at the cusp of an old cycle retiring and a new cycle beginning. And at the very cusp, at this edge of the cycle, it's going to show us all of these intense aspects of ourselves until we get the picture. Stop thinking that something outside of yourself is punishing you or is hurting you or is basically giving you all this chaos. It's not. You're looking into the chaos yourself because you've constantly nudged this away from yourself. You've constantly put this on the shelf and say, oh yeah, look at it later. I got all this stuff to do. I got to go to my crappy job, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? And we push it aside and we leave it out in the corner there. And then these whirlwinds are going to start brushing it back in our face, right? Start throwing it our way, saying, hey, look at this. Don't just put it in a box and tuck it away in a corner. This is who you are. Open to your expansive states on a level where you can become that expansion. Not just talking about it like it's some type of lip service, like it's just wordplay, right? And this is, again, something that I see a lot, is a lot of people will love the idea of the spiritual journey. They're so excited about it. It's beautiful. It's euphoric. It's psychedelic in that way. But they will not be able to belong to that energy. They will not become that energy because they try to normalize it. They put it into their reality and feel, oh yeah, okay, well, I'm going to brand this. I'm going to term this as something. I'm going to put some type of meaning into this. No. That will create a pain body reaction. you're basically creating clashes. You're basically having two incoherent polarities, and they are clashing at each other because you're trying to normalize your states of expansion. And that's what's going to create further hurt. That's what's going to create more of this pain body. So the whole idea here is being able to know who you are rather than thinking this is who you're supposed to be. You have to give life a unique, divine degree of natural understanding. You need to look at all of the boxes within yourself and saying, this is where I've been putting so much of my energy. What can I do to collect all of that energy and become this sphere rather than this box of belief? Become a sphere of expansion. So the whole key here is that if we are continuing to create these clashes, it's all just a reminder for yourself. Take some time off. Put a pause, put a pin in your reality, and really evaluate yourself about what type of love you're bringing into yourself, if any. And if it's basically all about belief and how this person screwed me over and me doing this type of work and all these things happening on the planet, if we can just basically keep pointing fingers about all these things that are going wrong in our life, has nothing to do with them, has everything to do with you. This is all about a refreshing look into the mirror of yourself, because it truly is refreshing. When we see our own chaos, we may think that's very, very scary, but it is actually quite refreshing, because we now realize, our eyes open, and we see what we're doing. And now we can build up our love. We'll heal all of those particular old aspects, old paradigms of ourselves, and move into this new sphere of consciousness. That is how you evolve. That's how you move more into fourth density. Not by talking about it, not by putting all these meanings on something, but following the nature of yourself so that you realize you are all things, you are anything, you are all possibilities, you are all avenues, you are the infinite. Start living that way rather than just talking about it. That's how you move further into the next density, into the next dimension, and realize you see more of yourself when you start letting go of attempting to normalize your aspects of expansion. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Brad Johnson. For more questions on this video or any other videos on my channel, go to my website, realitywhisperer.com. You can contact me through the contact section. And of course, private sessions, light circuitry attunements, digital courses, free media, and a lot more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Namaste. Goodbye.